Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. And welcome in, Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League fans, into this edition of the MFHL podcast, Episode 11, Season 2, here in our penultimate episode of the 2024 calendar year. I'm your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. This edition of the MFHL podcast brought to you by McKen Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, and goaltenders. Speaking of goaltenders, we got one from the MFHL joining the show today, Madeline Sylvester, also known as Mad Dog. Unfortunately, didn't get into how that nickname came to be for Maddie, but yeah, she'll be joining the show coming up here. She was in action along with the rest of her Avros teammates this past Wednesday in a game that unfortunately got cut short here on the network, but in all, it was another victory for the Winnipeg Avros this season. We were there to catch the full first period of that one, where Rio Pierre continued to impress in what's been a shall we say bordering on historic season so far for the second year forward. As it would start off in the early moments of this one, in the first 2 minutes, as Pierre, good on the forecheck, hounding a Central Plains Capitals player, taking it to the net and putting a backhand past Olivia May to make it 1-0 for the Avros early on. Denbo not getting the start in this one due to suffering injury over the weekend against the Interlake Lightning. But later on in the first period, Rio Pierre with a really nice move in tight to beat May. A little backhand to forehand action, tucks it under the bar to give the Avros the 2-0 lead heading into the first intermission. Winnipeg would go on to win that one by a score of 5-1. Sylvester was in the pipes, ended up getting the win on the night to improve to 7-0. This was last week's action in the league for Saturday and Sunday. This is how Wednesday's action ended up panning out, as there were two games that were played, as the Pembina Valley Hawks with a huge win against the Winnipeg Ice, who now for the Ice, they're of course up to third place in the standings with 19 points in 15 games played. Now Pembina Valley now at 8 wins to improve to 16 points in 18 games played. As for the stats leaders, though, after Wednesday, Rio Pierre up to 50 points now. Now I've been trying to confirm who what the total of points in a season by a single player is, but I haven't been able to find anything archived. I believe Rio's pretty close, though, blowing away the rest of the field right now in points with 50 and an impressive 18 games played. Almeida and Sylvester, of course, have been a phenomenal goaltending tandem for this Avros team, as Sylvester's 7-0 so far this year for today's MFHL podcast guest. But Rio, a 4 goal night, up to 23 goals, 27 assists. I'm not sure. I mean, we saw Stephanie Jacob last season. She dominated in this league, but I think that Rio's having an even more dominant season than Stephanie did last year. Rio is in some special company. I feel like for sure at this point. She's in a class of her own so far this season, as you can see by the stats, and we'll have to keep an eye on number 9 to see how many she ends up with by the end of this season. But as for one of her goaltenders, in Madeline Sylvester, she's going to be joining the show next in a pre-recorded interview that I did earlier today with the Avros third-year senior goaltender. That's all coming up next on the MFHL podcast with Maddie Sylvester, as we talk about her commitment to the University of Jamestown, play hockey there for 2025-2026, how this season's been going, and a look ahead to a 3-game Avros, or a 3-game weekend the Avros have coming up. All coming up here on the MFHL podcast, brought to you by McCann Fasteners and Tools, Terrico Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. It's Madeline Sylvester, number 29 of the Winnipeg Avros, goaltender who is committed to the University of Jamestown to play university hockey next season. Madeline, what came down to the decision to choose Jamestown as that next place to play in your hockey career?
Yeah, no, so I really like their coach, Hannah Griffin. Her coaching style, I just find that, she really pushes you to be the best person on the ice and work your hardest. And also, Jamestown's only 4 hours away from my home, so it's not far at all, and it's just convenient. So my parents, they really wanted to watch me play still, so they could come down and watch me.
Yeah, that's great to hear that you were able to find a place that, you're able to have that conveniency of the parents being able to make it out and come and watch. And also great that you were able to, connect well with the coach. You've had a chance to be coached by one of the best in the league, and Ashley Van Eglen, for the past few years. Is that, putting that in perspective, something that you value much more, at this point in your career compared to when you joined the Avros?
Yeah, no, has helped me a lot, both on the ice, off the ice. I mean, she's not the goalie coach, right? But she kind of almost feels like a goalie coach with how much she talks to the goalies, me and Anna. So she communicates well with us, and she always lets us know if anything's going to change, and always lets us know who's playing. Usually we just have a normal rotation, and you could talk to her about basically anything, like, and she'll help you out, right? She's also a teacher too outside of hockey, so she does help. She understands the school part of it too.
Yeah, and of course, a great mentor for you and the rest of the girls throughout, her time as the Avers coach, which has been since the beginning. But in terms of going to Jamestown, have you had a chance to reach out to any teammates that you'll be having a chance to become their teammates next season?
Um, Not well, actually today, since we play PV, Panda Valley Hawks, probably going to talk to Emma Derlin, see, because she's going there as well, and just see, I haven't talked to her much before, but I think it would be great to know her more because we're going to be teammates next year. And I mean, I look at her stats, she's pretty good, so I'm excited to watch her play and play with her.
Yeah, and I guess that's a neat part of this league, right? Having a chance to maybe play with, players you played against and playing with them on the same team later on in post-secondary. I guess, is that something you're excited about too, is having a chance to make new connections at that university level?
Yeah, for sure. I really when I went for a tour for Jamestown, I met girls who I've never met before, and I found out, some girls used to play with Eastman and stuff like that. So I just found that really neat. And also, there's still going to be those connections with the team and with other teams, right? Because mine not just signed, Avery Lazarenko, my teammate Carlin Zant, Bailey Grunwald, right? All those people. So, and I just find that's comforting for me, just knowing that I'm playing against, people I know, friends, right? Teammates,
Right.
and it just makes it a better experience.
Right, for sure. And it's something you can always look back on, right? Played them in minor hockey and then at the university level, all coming full circle at the end, of course. But your goaltending coach, Jeremy Link, what's that been like having the chance to work with him this season specifically? You're off to quite the start, Maddie, with a 7-0 record. Of course, I'm sure you've been enjoying the success, but I'm sure there's been a lot of work that's gone into that with you and your goaltending coach.
Yeah, so I actually knew Jeremy before Ivros. I used to work with him with Byron Spriggs, who's the Manitoba Bison's goalie coach, I believe, for the men's. And I used to work with Jeremy in the spring a lot. So when I found out, he was coming to Avro as a help coach, I was really excited. I have a good relationship with him. We talk about things outside of hockey. We like talking about video games, so it's always neat. But no, Jeremy, he really pushes me to go beyond my limits. He knows when we're doing these drills where I'm just getting tired. He keeps pushing me. He really doesn't give me a chance to catch my breath, which kind of pushes me to work myself harder and keep myself at the top of the level. And I really appreciate that. Um, but he has a great relationship with me and Anna, and I just really like him as a goalie coach and a person.
Yeah, and awesome that you two are able to connect on other things outside of hockey. You mentioned video games. Can you give the viewers your favorite video game or maybe a favorite genre at that?
Yeah, so um I have a PlayStation. So what some of my favorite video games, I have a lot of time spent with obviously NHL 25. Um I'm a big football fan, so Madden, any Madden games. And then the main reason I got a PlayStation was for actually the Spider-Man games. And obviously those are my favorites. So
Yeah, those are some good choices. Those are the same games I played on the PlayStation. That's funny. But yeah, it's awesome that, you're able to, enjoy some free time off the ice with those video games as well as getting to enjoy some success this season with the Winnipeg Avers, of course, in your third year now with this team. Talk about, what the journey's been like for you up until this point. You talked about how, with Jeremy this year, you feel like you've been pushing yourself. What's come before that though, in terms of the development you've been on?
yeah, so I find each year you learn something new, whether it be from your mistakes from past season. Last year I found that I was so worried about what was going in my head during games, and I kind of let Yellowhead me rattled, and um, I find that now I have a stronger mindset. I know how to handle tougher situations. So learning from those experiences throughout the years really has helped me a lot become a better goalie and person and teammate. Um, and I just find that when you learn from those experiences, you can pass it on to other people, your other teammates. And now that I'm part of the leadership group, I really find that I could help with the girls. They could come talk to me if they're struggling with anything, and I kind of know how to solve it, right? I just say, hey, you know what? Stuff happens, right? And it's not the past is the past, right? So focus on the present. No need to be worried about the past and just do your thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and of course, it's been, talked about so many times here on this podcast already this year when Avro's players or, Ashley's been on the show. But, in terms of last season, right, learning from that collapse is something that this team is trying to achieve this year, trying to, of course, get to that next level in playoffs. I'm sure now with potentially, championship aspirations. But you talk about learning from it and the past of the past. How have you felt that this group has been able to stay present game in and game out, going on a, pretty impressive 15 game winning streak that was, of course, snapped and then bouncing back against the Central Plains Capitals. You getting the start in that game. But yeah, this team's mentality, how you feel it may be different compared to last year with all the lessons learned.
Yeah, so we have a great group of girls and they just seem to understand it more, right? People who were in their first year last year have now I've seen them kind of like grow more mature and now understand it. And um I find that now we still kind of have our downs, right? But we're a team and we kind of build through it together. We have a great relationship with everyone. Everyone gets along. Everyone talks to each other, no matter what year you're in, right? No matter what your age is, the position, whatever, right? So we all just get along really well. It's kind of like my second family, I guess you could say. You could really, I like to talk to them about anything, right? They could help me with my math homework, which I suck at, but they can help me with anything, right? And I know that they'll always be there to defend me no matter what the score is.
Yeah, and that's great to know if you're a goaltender, right? Knowing that your team has your back, and with you being, of course, a part of the leadership group, one of the older players on this team, of course, you get to share a crease and net with Adriana Almeida, who's a year younger than you. What's that relationship been like? That's been built throughout this past, I guess, a year and a little bit now.
Yeah, so Anna, I met her back in my second year, and I didn't know her much before then. But I mean, for me, one of the most important things is having a good relationship with your goalie partner. So kind of just started with talking about equipment. Me and her, I really liked her equipment, so we kind of started talking about goalie equipment and stuff and sticks, right? And then we started talking about helmets. So that kind of just bonded, and then now we're kind of just like a duo, I guess, right? A pair.
Right.
So you can't really you can't really go anywhere else without her. So you kind of just have to stick together. And I mean, even when whoever's playing, right? Always the other person's on the bench going to be your number one supporter, right? So no, she's great as a person and a goalie. So I just absolutely love her. She's insane also. So but no, I'm probably I don't know, her parents might have to be aware that I'm probably another big supporter. So
Oh, well, there you are. Notice out to the Almeida family, for sure. But yeah, it's great that you two are able to have such a, special relationship that grew from the, level of equipment you two have. But with you two being so dominant this year, also getting help out in front with, players taking that next step, first years to second years this year, and vets all around. Decor as well, stepping up huge on the offensive side and doing its thing in the D zone in front of you. Talk about what that's been like as a third year player, seeing the overall team taking that next step so far on the actual ice.
yeah, so I find well, Kelsey Dinez, I'm going to talk about because she used to be defense, right? And now she's forward. And we were all like, Kelsey's never played forward before, right? So we were all like, oh boy. But she's actually so good at forward and she loves it now. And it's just great to see that development for her. And with defense, we have probably, I want to say, the best defense in the league, right? We have Carlin, Avery, all those girls who really understand and have this knowledge of how to play defense. And they're both physical, very physical girls. So I appreciate that. And they kind of understand the difference between the goalies, right? Because sometimes me and Anna have both very different styles, right? Anna plays the puck more than I do, but they understand, whoever's in net, they're just going to do their job and try to help their goalie out the most.
Yeah, and we've seen the skills of both, Avery and the other defensemen on this team on full display this season when we've covered this Avros squad. But for this Avros team coming up this weekend, some games to end things off here against Pembina Valley, as well as the Westman Wildcats on Saturday, and then Yellowhead on Sunday. Of course, looking to keep pace atop of the standings along with the Eastman selects right now. The mindset, I guess, from this team heading into this weekend, I'm sure part of it, a big one, taking it just one game at a time.
Yeah, so for us, our goal is to try to play a full 60. Um, we kind of have not been able to play a full 60. There's been moments where we've kind of had a slow start, But I think we're kind of getting to that point where we know what we have to do, and we know it's not going to be a points night every night, right? Someone's not going to score 9 goals a game or something like that, right? So we got to understand that we got to keep battling no matter who we're playing, whether it be the first place team or the last place team. Um, so I think I'm really excited for this weekend because I like playing Westman. I mean, I'm not going to be playing against Yellowhead, but I like watching them, I guess. So I'm very excited to see that. And then just seeing how we do. I always know it's good games when you play against teams out of the city, just because they almost seem to have this special like edge to them. I don't know what it is, but they always seem they're like out to get you more. So I'm really hyped for that.
Yeah, looking to take down the Winnipeg teams as all the rural Manitoba teams always try to do in this league. Madeline Sylvester joining this edition of the MFHL podcast. Maddie, best of luck to you and the rest of your teammates this weekend coming up. Can't wait to see what the Sabres team continues to do this year in the MFHL.
Thank you.
Adrian, welcome back, everybody. That's Maddie Sylvester joining this edition of the MFHL podcast here on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Her and her teammate Anna, so far this season, as we take a look at the statistics, have combined for a total of 16 wins each. Both of them have yet to lose in regulation. As for the Avros coming up for the rest of this Week 9 action, they'll be taking on Pembina Valley tonight in Morden, Manitoba. As Pembina Valley looking to make it 2 in a row against Winnipeg teams, a huge 3-2 win this past Wednesday. In that doubleheader this week, we also got games that are going to be going down. Quadruple header on Saturday as well as on Sunday. And for the Avros, they take on both Westman and Yellowhead, both games on the road, as the Avros will be heading into the break, as well as all the rest of the MFHL teams after this weekend of action is up as we head into the holiday break. But coming up after this commercial break, I'm going to be breaking down some power rankings that we have made for this episode here and that we released a bit earlier this week on our social media platforms. That's all coming up here on the Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League podcast here on your home for MFHL hockey on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And welcome back to the Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League podcast, everybody, for Season 2, Episode 11. 5 days away from Christmas, which is pretty crazy, pretty wild. We're already at this point in the year. I hope for everyone's celebrating. You end up having a merry one and a safe and fun holiday. All those words that are used to, describe it, right? But all in all, hopefully that everybody ends up having a safe holiday, as that is what matters the most at the end of the day, that everyone's in good health and that everyone's able to enjoy it in a fashion with however they please to celebrate it with family. For those that aren't celebrating Christmas, well, happy holidays to you, and hope you have a fun and safe holiday too, whichever one you may be celebrating. But welcome back to the MFHL podcast, everybody. The penultimate episode of 2024 for this podcast specifically. We're going to be back with episodes in 2025 as well, as we'll be starting our road to the 2024-2025 MFHL playoffs. I'm excited. I hope you are too. But in terms of next week on Christmas, we're going to be dropping a MFHL Christmas special. We're not sure if we're going to number it episode 12 or not, but it would be kind of fitting with 12 Days of Christmas being the song, and it would be released on Christmas. But yeah, we'll see what we do for that. We'll have something great to show you all. You can guarantee that, and something exciting. But yeah, in terms of, the MFHL standings heading into the Week 9 weekend action here, it's the Avros who are back on top for the time being at 34 points over the Eastman Selects 32 points. Those two teams, of course, faced off against each other on Sunday, and with that, a bit of a shift in our power rankings. The Selects ended up, going 1-1 on the weekend compared to the Avros going 2-1, and yes, it's a split in the season series now, but in my opinion, Eastman, they played a pretty strong game against the Winnipeg Ice. I think that maybe they fizzled out a bit, but yeah, in a game where they beat the Winnipeg Avros and tied them in the standings, got to give it to the Eastman Selects, who played a very, very strong game against a team that had a 15-game winning streak heading into it in Winnipeg. The Ice moved up another spot. The Chiefs, Hawks, and Wildcats didn't play any league games, and I had to move Winnipeg up at least a spot over the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs had a strong week last time out when they played. Of course, they were in Saskatchewan playing in the Manny Schwartz tournament last weekend, but for the Ice, they went 3-0. They start off Week 9 0-1 against the Pembina Valley Hawks, who they could be getting a bump in the power rankings coming up in our Christmas special. But yeah, overall, Winnipeg's starting to find their game again, and talking with Eugene Kaminsky, saying that he's starting to feel the confidence of this group really coming through, basically. And, we've been seeing it as we look at the standings once more. Winnipeg now up to third, even after that loss against the Pembina Valley Hawks. But as for the Interlake Lightning, they move up two spots, that is, based off of, they end up only losing to the Winnipeg Avros by 1 goal. Ended up having them at a score of 3-1 in favor of the Interlake Lightning. So Interlake was on upset alert in that game. Winnipeg, I guess that is, was on upset alert against the Interlake Lightning. And yeah, the Lightning end up, of course, winning 2-0 this past Saturday against the Central Plains Capitals. That Sunday game against Brandon unfortunately canceled. As for the Brandon Wheat Kings, I could have moved them down a bit further based off of them having 8 goals against, 0 goals for against Winnipeg competition, but giving them a bit of a pass just for this week because it was their first time facing off against Winnipeg competition. I think that next time out, if there's a bit of the same result and, Brandon, there's a chance that they can move down in the power rankings. That's where I'd probably have them down at 9, where Central Plains is. But Central Plains themselves, they end up going winless last weekend as well. Brandon's been a bit better than them in the standings this season as we take a look at it again. Only up by 1 point, I guess, on Central Plains, but given that Interlake was able to beat the Capitals, felt like, had to put the Wheat Kings still a spot above Central Plains, given that the Wheat Kings have also beaten Central Plains this season as well. So, yeah, that's what goes into the power rankings for this week, brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs in the industrial industry, whether you are in construction and the trades, or maybe you are looking to buy supply for a company, anything you can think of in the industrial industry, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has it. Be sure to check out their website too at midcanadafasters.shop for more information on the products and the brands that they partner with and sell in their stores in Winnipeg and Brandon, Manitoba. But yeah, those are the power rankings for this episode, everybody. In terms of the upcoming games for this weekend of action, quadruple header tomorrow as well as on Sunday. We'll be in Niverville to broadcast that game between the Eastman Selects and the Brandon Wheat Kings in our MFHL game day finale for 2024. Can't wait to be back in action. Like I said, for 2025, we're going to take it to one last transition here in this show, and I'll be back with some final words here on episode 11, season 2 of the MFHL podcast on gshow Productions. Well, you made it to the end of this edition of the MFHL podcast, everybody. I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth. Thank you for tuning into this one. If you did, consider subscribing. Turn on notifications if you want as well. I believe I was talking to someone I know that's subscribed to the channel, and he said that you didn't even have to turn the notification bell on to get notifications. So subscribing may just end up giving you notifications anyways. I'm not really sure if YouTube's made that change or not. Haven't really investigated it, but yeah, if you enjoyed this episode as well, be sure to leave a like on it so it potentially gets more visibility from people that may be interested in this content on YouTube. Could pop up in their algorithm more if you're able to do that. But yeah, if you don't do that, that's okay as well. Just happy you decided to tune into this one nonetheless, right? Of course, we'll be back on Christmas Day for a pre-recorded edition of the MFHL podcast, a Christmas special. Can't wait for that one. We'll update you a few days beforehand, maybe on Christmas Eve, on our website as well as on our social media platforms on who may be the guests for that episode. Hoping to get Brad Kirk on the show, the president of this league, but that's still up in the air. Thank you to Madeline Sylvester, aka Mad Dog, for coming on this edition of the MFHL podcast and being the guest. And special thanks to our sponsors as always, Make Cannon Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for supporting yet another edition of this show. Until 2025, if we don't have you tune in again, folks, or until Christmas, either when, enjoy the time with your families during this holiday season. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe holiday this year. For those, like I said, that are celebrating Christmas, I hope you have a merry one and a safe one at that, celebrating it with family and loved ones that you care about so much. For us over at G Show Productions, we hope you have a safe and wonderful Christmas and holiday season, and a happy and safe New Year as well. Here's to hopefully all your dreams and wishes coming true in 2025. And for us, we can't wait to see whose dream and wish comes true in terms of who hoists the championship at the end of this MFHL season. As once we hit 2025, everybody, playoffs start in February, and those when the real games begin. So that's still a bit of a ways away, but it'll be here before we know it. Until then, I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth, giving you a peace sign and waving so long, everybody. Take care. Thanks for tuning in.